Hey, Marc here from Whole Latte Love. I've got Sarah who's operating the camera for me today. Sarah?
Hi there.
Hi. Today we're going to go through some basic maintenance items on a Gaggia Velasca. So if you've got a new one, we're going to show you how to do just the basic stuff. So we're going to do a weekly brew group cleaning, very easy. We're going to tell you how to keep your milk frothing wand operating properly by giving it a little cleaning. And we'll show you how to test your water for hardness so you can put that into the machine so it knows when to descale. And we'll show you how to use a filter if you want to do that. But let's get right into it. We're going to do the basic brew group maintenance first. So pretty easy. Come on in. All we have to do is just pull out our drag drawer here a little bit. That's where used coffee goes. We'll open the door of the machine and then we're going to remove this little tray down here, this is the brew group, so that's underneath the brew group. We'll take that out. We're going to rinse that out a little bit. To remove the brew group, it's got little directions here, so it just says push, so you just push and pull, and it comes right out. So we're going to take these over to the sink, and, well, we'll give this a little rinse first. So you can just take a little brush, and if you got any coffee residue, you can see we have a little bit in here. I'm not going to get too uptight about the cleaning here, just for time. And we just put that in a strainer, let it drain for the brew group. So what we want to do, we don't want to scrub this at all. It does have some elements that are lubricated in here. We don't want to remove that lubrication. We just want to rinse it. So I've just got some kind of like room temperature water here, and I'm just going to rinse it. If I want, I can get my fingers down in here a little bit just to get rid of any loose coffee. So if you see any loose coffee grinds, which is perfectly normal to see on these, you can just rub those off a little bit. And we'll just give it a good rinse. Now I like to just kind of shake out as much excess water as I can. And then we're just going to set it in a strainer to let it dry. And that's it. Okay, so our brew group is dry. Now look, if you can put it back if it's still a little moist, I would suggest just patting it off a little bit. You do want to be careful that you don't remove any of the lubrication, which is way deep inside, so it's pretty hard to do. But if you do want to put it back in and use it right away, you can do that. So we're going to take our group and our little tray here. You do want to make sure when you put the brew group back in that this yellow portion is pushed up. It should come out of the machine that way, but just give that a check. So if it's down like that, just give it a push up and you should be ready to go. All right, so when we put it back in, there's two rails here that it sits on, and I sometimes have some problems lining those up, but not too bad. So push it in, and it should kind of click in place, and you give it a tug and make sure it's in there. And then we just set our little drawer, slide that back in, and we can close the drawer and put our drag box back, and that's all there is to that, and that's a weekly maintenance item. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the frothing wand, your milk frothing wand here, sometimes called an auto frothing wand, a Panarello wand, the daily maintenance of this. So you need to do this after you've used it with milk. So come on in, Sarah, and let's take a close look here. A couple things I want to show you. So daily maintenance after you've frothed milk is you want to take this off, this piece here. I'm going to show you the air intake area. It's very important that this little slot right here, if you can see that, that's clean. I mean, it's really important the whole thing is clean. But take this over to the sink on a daily basis after use. And you can, I'm also going to take this apart here. So the way to do that, there's a little plastic piece in here that it comes off. So you push down on that, and then you get something like the end of a pen or pencil. And if we push through, we get this little part out as well. So you want to make sure these are both perfectly clean. So you can use some detergent, some warm water if that gets it off. And just make sure they're all really cleaned. You can scrub out the area in here, making sure that's really clean. Once you're done, you want to put this back together. So this is the top. This is the part that's going to go on the machine. So we take that little plastic piece, drop it in, and then we use something to push that into place. Now, the position of this is very important. So if you go too far, it can look like that. And it's not going to work very well if it looks like that. So you want to make sure you push that back into spot. And there's kind of this area where it rests. So that's how it should look when you're done. Okay? So we'll take this back over to the machine. The other thing we want to do is just wipe this spot down right here and make sure that's all good and clean and put it back together. So that's daily, what you want to do daily after use. On a weekly basis, you want to do all that same thing, but we also want to just pull the whole thing apart. So this rubber piece here pulls completely off. And in addition to that regular daily stuff, we're just going to take a nice warm wet rag. You can use a cleaning solution on this if you like. Just make sure you wipe it, get it all off when you're done, and get this pipe really clean. The other thing you want to check, if you're having, when you're doing this, or if you happen to have some poor frothing performance, is the little hole that's right up in here. So what I like to do, because sometimes some milk will get gummed up in there and affect performance, is just take a pin and put it through there. These little push pins work great. And make sure, if I can get it in the hole, make sure that's all really well cleaned out. And then you can put everything back together here. So rubber piece on first. You can see there's a little indent here, and you'll feel when you push this on here that it kind of finds that spot, and then it doesn't move off very easily. And put the other part of the wand back on here, and again, make sure that this is in the proper position, and then you should be good to go.
Perfect. Now you said weekly cleaning for that.
Yes.
Is there such thing as cleaning too much?
You can't clean it too much. When you're working with milk stuff, you want to have it as clean as possible for hygienic reasons, but also any milk that gets caught up in any of these areas can really affect the frothing performance. So if you're not experiencing perfect frothing, try cleaning those areas out and then try frothing again. Okay, next thing we're going to do is test our water hardness. You're going to use this information and put it into the machine. So your machine should have come with a strip like this. So I'm going to take this out of the package. You can see there's a little line here. Kind of opens like a Band-Aid thing. So we'll pull that out and pull our strip out. And what I've got here is just a picture of some of tap water. So you want to use your tap water. You see kind of like 3 green boxes on there. I'm just going to dunk it into our tap water, swirl it for a second, and pull it out. Shake off any excess and let that develop a little bit. And as you can see, we've got 2 that are turning kind of red here as compared to the 2 greens. So we're going to use that information. There is a little chart on the package that it comes with, and this gives us our total water hardness. We've got 2 reds, so it's greater than 7 degrees of total hardness and less than 14 degrees of total hardness. And we'll use this in just a minute. Okay, so we've done our water hardness test. Now, we're going to use that information in a second, but first, we do recommend that you use a water filter in your machine. It's going to significantly extend the time between the descaling maintenance and also give you a better tasting coffee. So we're going to show you how to set that up. The Velasca uses a Mavea Intenza Plus filter. So I'm going to take this out of the box. You do need to do some prep with this. So this is what the filter looks like. You do want to make sure it has this black gasket on here. So to prep this filter, we're going to use that pitcher. We're going to stick the filter so that this side is up. This side's got that black gasket on it. We're going to stick it underwater, and we're going to squeeze it some. What we're trying to do is just get the air out of the filter. So as you can see, some bubbles coming up out of there. Can you see those here?
Yeah, I see them.
And it does take a little bit of squeezing, and there's one way to figure out if you've gotten all the air out, and that's if the filter will float. So I just keep squeezing it a little bit. You can see air is still coming out of there.
Is there a typical number of squeezes that you shoot for?
Well, I don't know. That was maybe about 10 or so. But you can see if it's not fully not full of water yet, it'll float up in here. And mine's not floating, so it's ready to go. Okay, so our filter is all soaked with water, full of water. So now let's put it in. One thing we do need to do before we do that, there's a setting on the filter itself. So we did that water hardness test. We're going to use the information from that. We've got ours turned out with 2 red squares here to set this guy on here. So this twists and you have A, B, and C settings. Okay? So if you had 0 or 1 red square on your water hardness test, you're going to use the A setting. For 2, you'd use the B setting. For 3 or 4, you'd go to C. So we had 2, so we're going to set it at B. Okay? I'm going to get out my reservoir here. Try not to let that fall over. You want to keep that water in there for now. So we'll pull the reservoir. I've got a little water in there, so I'm going to get rid of that so we can do this easier. I'll dump that out. Okay, so in the reservoir itself, there is this little plastic strainer. You can remove that. You just give it a little push, and it'll come right out. It probably can stay in there if you want, but we like it better if we remove that. Then to install our filter, we're just going to take it and turn it into place, like so. And now we'll fill our reservoir here. We can use this water if we want. And we got a little more. We just want to give it a good fill. Right up to that max line. We'll set that back in the machine. Okay, now we're going to go into the machine's menu and we're going to use some information from our hardness test again. So we'll go into menu and we're going to use the down arrow here to go to water hardness. We will select that by doing a check mark here. And this is pretty simple. So if you got one box on your hardness test, you select one, which would be there. There are 2 or 3 or 4 boxes. We got 2, so we're going to go to 2 and hit the check mark. And we're also going to go a little deeper in the menu here and just tell the machine that we're using a filter. So we're going to go down past display contrast to water filter, select the check mark, and we'll go up one to say on, hit the check mark to select that. Now the machine knows our water hardness, knows we're using a filter. What that's going to get us is a much longer time between descalings because we're using the filter and the machine can properly calculate when it needs to be descaled. So when we're done with that, we'll just return out to the main menu. Now, before we make a coffee on this, what we want to do is just rinse that filter once. That's pretty easy. We're just going to put a receptacle under our hot water wand here. And up here, I will select the hot water function. And it's going to, as the machine heats up, a minute here, it's going to just start passing water through. And you want to let this water run until it tells us the machine's out of water. There it goes. It's going to do the hot water. Now, this is going to take a couple minutes. You may need to empty this a couple times because you probably got more water in the reservoir than will fit in here. So you may need to empty that. You could have another container around, just slide it under there, and just go until the machine gives you a little red water drop that indicates it's out of water. From there, all you need to do is refill the water reservoir and you're ready to make coffee and espresso. So, hope that's helped you out with your Gaggia Velasca. I'm Marc from Whole Latte Love. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more? Subscribe now so you'll know about the latest videos on everything coffee from Whole Latte Love.